So, what is going on YouTube? This is Sam from TeamSamuraiX1 here, and today guys, I'm coming at you with one of the most highly requested deck profile up to date for this channel. It has to be Buster Bladers. A lot of you guys have been asking me for an updated Buster Blader deck profile since last year, and to be honest guys, I was waiting for the release of Maximum Crisis for Kratos to basically come out. Kratos is a new edition trap card that basically gives a huge speed boost to Buster Bladers, so I'll speak to you guys all my card choices as I progress through the deck profile. Of course guys, if you guys can smash this video with a huge thumbs up button for more deck profiles or a new format, that'll be absolutely amazing. And you know what guys, this deck is very explosive and it's actually really fun to play, and make sure you guys stay to the end of the deck profile to see different card choices you guys can actually play in your deck to make your decks a more budget friendlier version for those of you who are budget players. For those of you who are wondering if I'm selling the dinosaur playmat, I am selling it for a limited time only, so if you're interested in purchasing one, make sure you guys message my Facebook page. I'll leave a link in the description box below if you guys are interested in supporting the team and want to purchase your dinosaur playmat. These mats are super hot and it's selling out really fast. So without further ado, let's get started with this deck profile. So start up with the monsters you guys want to play, of course. Triple Buster Blader. You are playing a Buster Blader deck, so you must play triple copies of Buster Blader. And the fourth Buster Blader you want to play is, of course, the one Buster Blader, the Destruction Swordman. This card is a really amazing card for the fact that it's essentially a board wipe. And each time it kills a monster, you're able to equip that monster to this card. And if you have a Buster Dragon on the field, all of your opponent monsters become dragon types anyways. So if you send a dragon type monster attached to this card, you basically get to nuke your opponent's entire board. Next off, for your Buster Blader supports, essentially the best card in the deck is triple Buster Whelp, the Destruction Swordman. You want to open up this card as quickly as possible so that way that you can set up your plays, especially with Kratos and things like that. Basically, this card lets you search any Destruction Swordsman card directly from your deck to your hand when it's normal summon. This card is in your graveyard and you control a Buster Blader monster. You can discard a Destruction Sword card from your hand to the graveyard, especially this card from your grave, so that way that you can easily tutor out a level 1 tuner monster directly from your graveyard to make your synchro plays, which is absolutely phenomenal. Next off, you're going to play triple domain of the deck, triple Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. So if you have this card equipped to a Buster Blader while you're playing against Zodiacs, your opponents are basically locked down from using their extra deck, which is really important. And the fact that this card is able to activate this effect to special summon itself while equipped, so that way that you have access to a level 1 tuner to make into your Buster Dragon plays or any of your synchro plays. It's just absolutely phenomenal. And you want to send this card to your graveyard as quickly as possible, so that way that during your opponent's turn, you can activate Buster Dragon to equip this card to a Buster Blader that you control. And last but not least, for supporting engines, you want to play triple Sage with Eyes of Blue. Sage is really good because if you don't open up Buster Whelp, you actually want to open up Sage, because Sage gets you into the Buster Whelp. Although that it's kind of a one-turn slower card, it's still a really amazing card for the fact that you're able to search a Buster Whelp directly from your deck to your hand. And it's also a level 1 tuner, which can actually help you make Buster Dragon and also your synchro plays, which is really strong. Last but not least, you want to play, of course, the one Globe Bulb. I feel like Globe Bulb is really essential in the deck because for the fact that it's a reoccurring level 1 tuner, which you can easily tutor off of 1-for-1, and this card is in your graveyard. You can mill a card to the top of your deck to special summon this card from the grave. And last but not least, for the hand traps, you want to play the one Max C and double Ash Blossom. I feel like Ash Blossom is really important in the next upcoming format. Being able to negate cards that searches, cards that mills, and cards that special summon directly from the deck is really powerful, especially against the dinosaur matchup against Miscellaneosaurus. They banish the cards from the graveyard. It's a cost to banish, and you just basically Ash Blossom, and they just basically lose all their advantage. So it's just why Ash Blossom is just really good. But Ash Blossom is not necessary to play in the deck, so make sure you guys stay to the end of the video for alternatives that you guys can actually sub up for Ash Blossom. But if you guys cannot afford Ash Blossom, that is understandable. You guys don't have to even play this card at all. But make sure you guys stay to the end of the video to see different card choices and options that you guys can play instead of cards like Sage and instead of cards like Ash Blossom. Next up, we're going to play the Destruction Swordsman Fusion. This card is really good. If you just have one fusion monster that lists Buster Blader as a material from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or either side of the field as fusion materials. So this card is essentially a super polymerization if you have a Buster Dragon in the field, because Buster Dragon makes all monsters become dragon, and you can fusion summon this card using your opponent's dragon monsters as well, which is really strong. So that's why this card is so good. And also its secondary effect is that if this card is in your graveyard, you can send one card from your hand to the graveyard to essentially add this card directly back into your hand, which is really strong. So that way you can make another Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swords, which is really powerful. And the really good thing about this card is that you're able to use your opponent's monster, which is really nice. So yeah, double emblem of the Dragon Destroyer searches up your Buster Blader, and getting Buster Blader to your hand as quickly as possible is really essential in this deck. Let's go out to the draw engine of the deck. You're going to play double cards of consonants. It works with your your level 1 tuners. It works with your Whelp and also works with your Dragon Buster Destruction Sword, which is really good. So that way that you can help easily draw into your combo pieces if you have multiple copies of those cards in your hand. And sending Dragon Buster directly from your hand to your graveyard first turn is really powerful. So that way that you have access to the domain lock. And having access to the domain lock while you control a Buster Dragon and also a Buster Blader on the field during your opponent's turn is just really powerful. So sending this card from your hand to the graveyard as quickly as possible off cards of consonants is really essential. For the draw engine, again, you want to play double Pot of Desires. I actually had no problems using Pot of Desires at all. I feel like you want to see your combo pieces as quickly as possible, especially seeing your Whelp, especially seeing your Destruction Swordsman, Cradle. You want to see those cards in your hand as quickly as possible, and I believe that Pot of Desires gets you there. I know that sometimes you guys may have a theory where, oh, what happens if you banish all your 3 Whelps? What happens if you banish all your Buster Bladers? I'm telling you guys right now, the stats and the likely chances of banishing 3 Buster Bladers is like, it's really slim. It's so slim, and I feel like Pot of Desires most of the time actually help me win games rather than me losing games anyways. And most of the time you're playing so many multiple copies of cards in your deck, banishing 1 copy is not gonna hurt. And I'm telling you guys right now, you're not gonna banish 3 Buster Blader directly from your deck. But throughout testing at all, I never find myself in any situation banishing 3 Buster Blader before. And of course, we have cards like Cards of Consonants and also Emblem of the Dragonosaurus to basically search out your cards first before you activate Pot of Desires. So next off, you guys want to play double Forbidden Chalice and double My Body's a Shield. I feel like sometimes this deck loses to board wipes easily while you control a Buster Dragon and things like that. So I feel like My Body's a Shield is going to be really good in next upcoming format, especially against Dragon as well. So I feel like My Body's a Shield is just really powerful, and it's really good against Masterpiece as well. That's why I like My Body's a Shield. And also for Forbidden Chalice, same purpose, negating cards like Dryden and also making Dryden go to 0 during the damage step and negating its effect is really powerful. And last but not least, for our 1-ups, you want to play the 1/1 for 1 tutors out your your Destruction Sword directly from the deck, and also Buster Whelp directly from the deck is really good as well. It can also tutor out Sage, which is really nice. 1/1 for 1 and 1 Regeki, and last but not least, the 1 Soul Charge to round off our spells. For the traps, you want to play a triple prologue of the Destruction Swordman, aka Destruction Sword Cradle in the LCG. I felt like that name was just way more cooler. For those of you who do not know this effect, is that essentially a Foolish Burial for Buster Bladers, which helps you easily tutor out a Buster Dragon on your turn or on your opponent's turn, which is really strong. Send one Destruction Sword card and 1 Buster Blader monster from your deck to the graveyard, except for prologue of the Destruction Swordsman, especially the 1 Buster Dragon from your extra deck or graveyard, but destroy it during the end phase of the next turn. You can banish card from the graveyard. This turn, Destruction Sword cards you control cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. You can only activate 1 prologue of Destruction Swordsman once per turn. So this card is really good protecting your face-up Buster Whelps on the field as well. And the fact that it's able to tutor out a Buster Dragon to your opponent's turn, so that way that you can combo off during your turn, is really powerful. And of course, you're not going to leave Buster Dragon on the field. During your turn, you're going to be synchro summoning with Buster Dragon anyways. So I'll explain to you guys all those combos throughout the end of the video. So prologue is really amazing. The fact that you're able to tutor out a Buster Dragon directly from the extra deck, and making your opponent's monsters all dragons, and having access to a Buster Dragon on your opponent's turn, being able to equip cards like Dragon Buster Destruction Sword to your Buster Bladers using its effect is just really strong. So that way your opponent can be locked out from using the extra deck is really powerful. So, like, you want to see this card as much as possible. So yeah. Next off, the Destruction Swords of Memories card is really good. You can discard 1 Destruction Sword card, especially 1 Buster Blader or monster directly from your deck. And also you can banish card from your graveyard. If you just summon 1 Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman from your extra deck, banishing fusion material monsters listed on it from the graveyard. So what you usually do with this card is that you activate Prologue, you dump this, and you dump Buster Blader, and you can activate this card's effect to banish the Buster Blader and also another Dragon monster from the graveyard to basically special summon, the Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman from your grave. From the extra deck, which is really strong. So double Destruction Swords of Memories, and last but not least, double Quaking Mirror Force and 1 Solemn Warning. I feel like Quaking Mirror Force is just really powerful. I feel like this deck sometimes lacks in defense. So especially Quaking Mirror Force, the whole entire board, and while you control a Buster Dragon, the Destroyer Swordsman, this card can easily do piercing damage. It cannot attack directly, but when it attacks a defense monster, it basically does piercing damage, which is really strong. So that's why I believe that Quaking Mirror Force comes in super handy. So that's pretty much it for the traps. Let's go off into your extra deck. After the extra deck, you want to play, a triple Buster Blader, the Destruction Swordsman. Card is really strong. It requires 1 Buster Blader and 1 Dragon type monster. It must be fusion summoned. It cannot be special summoned by other ways. This card cannot attack directly. This card gains 1,000 attack and defense for each Dragon monster your opponent controls or is in the graveyard, okay? And its effect is really good because change all Dragon type monster your opponent controls to defense position. Also, Dragon type monsters in your opponent's possession cannot activate their effects. So basically, it's essentially a huge skill drain on the field. They cannot even activate their effects at all if you control this card and the Buster Dragon, which is really strong. And also, each time it attacks a defense monster, it does piercing damage, which is really good. So this card is a really powerful floodgate while you control a Buster Dragon in the field, which is really nice. So triple Buster Blader, Dragon Destroyer, Swordsman. Next off, you must play triple Buster Dragon. And I hear a lot of jokes saying, you know, all you need is 3 Buster Dragon and also 3 Buster Blader in the extra deck to basically play the deck. And it's really true. Sometimes you don't do anything else instead of going to these 2, but the other synchros are definitely a must-have to support the deck. And next, this card is really good. Being able to revive back Buster Blader from your graveyard is really strong, and it's not a once per turn effect too. Okay, so you can activate this effect multiple times as long as you have multiple copies of this card in the field, which is really strong. And the fact that it makes all your opponent's monsters dragon monsters, which can help you use the fusion spell card to use your opponent monster materials, and also make this card's effect really useful by, you know, Dragon monster opponent controls cannot activate their effects. Just off, you're gonna play, you know, Hot Red Dragon, Archfiend, the Abyss to, you know, break through the skill every single turn. And the way that you make this is off Buster Dragon and a tuner. And I'll show you guys the combo throughout the end of the video. But this card is really important. The fact that it's just able to negate anything on the field is just really powerful. So Hot Red Dragon, and it's also a 3200 beater, which is really huge. Next off, you're gonna play the 1 Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, nukes the whole board. 1 Void Ogre Dragon, really amazing. 1 Stardust Dragon. You usually make this card if you're really afraid of board wipes, or if you don't have the My Body's a Shield and you have access to this card. Stardust Dragon is just really good. 1 Stardust Spark Dragon, 1 Siphon Lord Omega. This card is completely optional. You guys can play any other level 8 synchro monsters as Siphon Lord Omega. I know this card is really expensive, and yeah, you guys don't have to play this card at all. But I feel like it's just really powerful. Having the access to Omega is just really strong, and be able to just you know, recycle back your banished Buster Bladers and also recycle, you know, cards that you desire is just really powerful. So Siphon Lord Omega, 1 number 38, and last but not least, the 1, I'll say, the Sylvan High Protector to round off our extra deck. So that's pretty much for the extra deck squad with the combo I was talking about. So 1 card combo I was talking about is, of course, opening up Prologue, or if you open up Whelp, you search up the Prologue. Okay, so let's say for this example, you open up Whelp. Okay, so you summon Whelp, activate Whelp's effect to search a Prologue of Destruction Swordsman. You set this, and then you have 3 other cards in your hand, and no, you have 4 other cards in your hand you can pass. During your opponent's turn, okay, they do their plays, you activate, you know, Prologue of the Dragon Destruction Swordsman, okay, and, you know, activate this effect to dump the memories, okay, and you also dump the Buster Blader directly from your deck to the graveyard to synchro summon into a Buster Dragon. So you have a Buster Dragon right here, okay, so let's say that this board does live, okay, and this is in the graveyard, and, you know, they want to kill your Buster Whelp. You can activate this effect to banish itself, to basically protect the Buster Whelp. And for this situation, let's say Buster Dragon actually lives. So what you do on your turn is that, okay, what you can do is that you can activate Buster Dragon's effect, special summon this card from the graveyard, synchro summon these 2, okay, into another Buster Dragon, okay. Where's the Buster Dragon? Synchro summon those 2 to the graveyard, special summon another Buster Dragon. And remember, guys, this Buster Dragon needs to kill itself during the end phase, okay? Because of our Prologue's effect. So now you have 2 Buster Dragons on the board. Activate the Buster Dragon effect, especially in the Buster Blader, okay? You know, from your hand. And for example, if you have another Destruction Sword card in your hand, any Destruction Sword, so let's say you have this card in your hand, okay? For this example, if you have another Destruction Sword card, you can activate Buster Whelp's effect to discard the Buster Sword card, okay? Destruction Sword card, I mean, to the graveyard. So you want to discard this, especially when the Buster, what's called the Whelp. And you use the Whelp and the Buster Dragon that's going to be killed this turn to synchro summon into level 9, okay? You synchro summon into Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. And, like, you know, this is your board right here, just legit off just 1 card. If you open up this card and you open up, like, you know, if you open up this card and your board were to live, you basically have this board next turn, which is really strong. So you have in the gate, you have a card that basically makes everything, what's it called? Dragon monsters. And look, in your graveyard right now, you have Destruction Memories and also a Whelp. Or at this point, if you already have another Buster Blader in the graveyard or something like that, you can activate Destruction Swordsman, especially summon this card from your extra deck, which is really strong. And during your opponent's turn, you can activate Buster Blader's Dragon if you have this board to equip Dragon Buster Destruction Sword into the Buster Blader, so that way that your opponent's locked down from the extra deck. So this opening board, just off legit 1 card off the Buster Whelp, is just really, really strong. You also have 1 card that's able to negate anything, which is really nice. So if this board lives, you can activate next turn, you activate Dragon Destruction Sword, you unequip itself, synchro summon into another Buster Dragon, activate Buster Dragon to revive it again. And it's just so many cool combos that you can do with this deck. Sometimes in certain situation that you do not open up the Whelp. So let's say that you open up a Sage and also a Prologue. Like I said, you need to see your Prologue to basically this combo to go off. So what you want to do is you want to summon Sage, activate Sage effect to basically search the Whelp directly from your deck to your hand. So this is your hand, and you have 3 other cards in your hand if you're going first, okay? So you want to set this card and you want to pass. Okay, during your opponent's turn, okay, you can activate, Prologue to Destruct Swordsman, to basically special summon, to send memories, and also send a Buster Blader directly from your deck to the graveyard, okay, to special summon a Buster Dragon from your extra deck, which is really strong, okay, and let's say this board would live, you have cards like Quaking Mirror Force to protect your monsters, you're pretty much lit in this situation, okay, so this is your graveyard right here. Next turn, what you can do is that you can normal summon the Whelp. Okay, activate Whelp's effect. You can search up what is it called? Another prologue. At this, what you can do is with search Whelp, you can search the Dragon Destruction Sword. Okay, and what you can do now is you activate Buster Dragon's effect to special summon the Buster Blader from your graveyard. Okay, so this is your field right here. You synchro summon these two to the grave into another Buster. Okay, and now you synchro summon these two to the grave to special summon the Abyss, and then you activate Buster Dragon's effect to revive back the Buster Blader, okay? And now at this point is that since you have this card in your hand, you can activate Buster Whelp's effect to basically send this card to the graveyard to special summon the Whelp from the grave. And now what you can do with this one, you can single summon these two to your graveyard to special summon another Buster Dragon. Do the same thing again, activate Buster Dragon's effect to special summon the Buster Blader. And now what you can do at this point is that you can even overlay for a Titanic Galaxy. If you're scared of board wipes and start into a Titanic Galaxy if you actually really wanted to, but I don't recommend you guys doing that because on your opponent's turn you can activate Buster Dragon's effect to equip this card directly to Buster Blader so that way that your opponent's locked down from the extra deck. You guys know that from now on in every single deck profile I try to up the quality of my videos. So for those of you who are budget players, I know you guys love this a lot where I compare the current version that I showcase you guys to a different version and a more budget friendlier version that you guys can pilot Buster Blader. As you guys can see with the deck profile I just showcased you guys can see that the main deck is roughly around $430 with the addition to Sage, Ash Blossom and things like that. And also with cards like Pot of Desires and Regeki can make this main deck very expensive. And with the extra deck, this deck will become roughly around $539 Canadian price, and converting that to the US, I'll showcase you guys the US price there. And I know that not all you guys are gonna pay $539 to play Buster Bladers, so this is the alternative version to the Buster Blader. This version is really budget friendly. You basically substitute the Sage for Synchron Resonator, which also is a really another good tuner, which can be easily searched off with a Resonator Call, and that way that you can easily have access to Allure of Darkness by replacing it with Pot of Desires, which is really nice. And this deck is just super budget as well, which why I really like the second version. It functions the same as as the version I just showcased you guys. But I felt like, having access to Sage and Pot of Desires and also Ash Blossom is just really good. So the main deck is around roughly $52 lowest, okay? So all of these prices, guys, I'm comparing it the lowest on YGOPro prices and also the lowest on eBay. And I'm using these prices as the lowest rarity possible, okay? The lowest rarity possible, everything common as the lowest rarity, okay? The main deck for this deck will be $52, okay? And also with the extra deck is always more expensive than the main deck. The extra deck, taking out cards like Omega and things like that, will leave you with a $60 extra deck, which is really, really good. You guys take out Omega for another Stardust Dragon, for maybe, Red Dragon or Hot Archfiend if you guys wanted to. Anything that you guys want. Anything that you guys want to play, all up to personal preference. So, but the extra deck will be around roughly $60. Deck roughly $110 Canadian or so. So it's relatively really, really cheap compared to a $539 version for this deck, okay? So that's pretty much it, guys, for the comparison. The deck works the same. Synchron Resonator is still really good. You also have access to Allure of Darkness since you're playing more Darks now. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys want to see this segment continue, where I showcase you guys budget options, it took me a lot of time to research this, guys. So make sure you guys smash the thumbs up button. That'll be amazing. And this is Sam from Team SamHam signing out. Alright, guys. Peace.